Oi oi, Stitch has the Stitch Yang Door Part 14. It's the first one we recorded in a while because we've been traveling so much. We've both been in LA separately. I didn't say my name. Alright, wait, I'm sorry again. Oi oi, Stitch Heads, it's Stitch Gang the Tour Part 14. I'm your host, Frank Rodriguez. As always, with me is my co-host. He's a black belt in the Crystal Straw fighting system. He is a DJ, formerly known as DJ Trilly Ocean, now DJ Drink Man. Tyrone Be Gay. Tyrone, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. How did your DJ set at Burt's go?
Oh,
Or debut? It was a long time ago now, but...
Yeah. As expected, there was hardly anybody there because there was a Drake-themed night going down at a popular bar down the street.
God damn you, Drake.
Yeah, I know. Like, once again, you're making me cry watching... You're ruining me with the God's Plan video, and then you're fucking my DJ setup.
You should have said it's Kanye night. No, Kanye wouldn't work. I guess you can't top Drake night. That sucks. You could have said I'm playing Drake too. I don't know.
Well, like I have my qualms with Drake night, but I'll keep those to myself because
that sucks.
Yeah, but so I mean, I got to play and I played an hour, and the bar decided because there was nobody there that they were gonna close like 2 hours earlier. So the guys I was like DJing with, they like got their sets cut pretty short, and so I ended up at Drake night, so which is pretty fun.
My God.
Admittedly.
God, man, Drake, you are such a heel.
Constantly a fucking burden in my life. God damn it,
man. Well, maybe your next show you can theme it something that people will want to see. I always see like Drake night, Kanye, the two queens, Rihanna and Beyonce night, Kanye versus Drake.
I saw a night in New York actually dedicated to that band Pulp.
I don't even know
and
that.
I was like, yeah, exactly. Like I've heard of them, but like I didn't know that they like were popular enough to like have an entire night dedicated to them.
Our friend Will, he loves Feeling Gloomy, the Smiths tribute night, I think.
That would be fun. We don't have a whole lot of tribute nights here. We've had like 2 Drake nights.
Well,
I have an idea for a perfect themed night, but I'm gonna keep that under wraps.
Okay. Well, once the Stitch Gang brand is built up, you can just have Stitch Gang Presents, and then people will know what to expect. Which is just Travis Scott and Charlie XCX.
And then I will outdraw Drake night when we attach the Stitch Gang name.
Yeah, so we haven't recorded in a while. We've both been traveling. I edited the last episode on my way to California. I went to SF in LA for no reason. And then separately, you went to LA and you went to that fest, Nature World Night Out. Is that what it's called?
Sure did, sir.
Yeah.
Where I saw the likes of Cupcake, Turnstile, and clearly it was riveting because I'm remembering everybody I saw. But it was like Hatebreed, Turnstile, and Cupcake.
Did you catch Rico Nasty?
Unfortunately, we didn't. We ended up like going to Malibu, which was nice.
Yeah,
it's beautiful in Malibu.
How was Cupcake?
She was awesome. Like she was super good. However, like she only did like 4 or 5 songs, so I was a little bummed. She didn't do cartoons, which I was hoping for.
Why was their set so short?
I don't know. I don't understand it because everybody else played pretty long, but I think that really helped my enjoyment of it all. But it also ended so suddenly. I was like kind of confused as to whether or not it was over or not. And then the DJ started playing. The DJ, whom turned out to be young Krayshawn of Gucci fame.
Oh, okay.
It was a star-studded event, man.
Was she like identified, or is she just a DJ now?
No, I think she was identified.
Okay. I haven't heard from Krayshawn in a while.
Yeah, I didn't see her build anywhere, but she showed up, and then my friend was like, he checked his phone, and turns out it was her, and then he kept staring at her in a real creepy way. So
Cool. How was Turnstile?
they were fun. I don't particularly like enjoy them recorded, but every time I've seen them like quite a few times, and they're really good live. I mean, that much I can say.
Yeah, they're amazing. I mean, I first got into them like their recorded stuff is I like it like fine. I actually haven't listened to it in a while, but I really got into watching their live videos because just the fans go crazy and do like lucha libre dives off the stage, and they have very singable songs. And the 2 times I've seen them, it's been really cool and really crazy. And yeah, what other updates? Sorry if I sound weird. I just got my braces taken off, and I'm wearing retainers, so my S's are gonna be a little funny for a while until I get used to it.
I can't wait till we talk about the second song on this record, so I can hear you say SZA.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to Albuquerque next week, so I think we're gonna get to record one live to tape, in person.
Yeah,
I don't know. It'll probably be the same, but it'll be fun to do.
I'm planning on taking Frank to a strip club where there's a little stripper featured this weekend. So we'll see what happens.
Wait, are you serious? It's a little person who's a stripper?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought. Wait, you said that, and then I was making a joke like, a little stripper, huh? But that's really what's going on.
No, a little person. Yes.
All right, I'm down. Let's do it. I
figured.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know what I've never been to Albuquerque. I don't know. Don't know what you guys are into. That sounds fun. Sounds really cool.
I figured since UFC 222 is the same night that we could explore. I mean, we'll probably be like super hopped up on adrenaline, and I'm gonna like have testosterone flowing, violence, and then I'm gonna want to go to the strip club.
Yeah.
So.
Everyone told me like, oh, you should have gone during the balloon festival, but I'll say I went while the little strippers were in town.
Yeah,
instead.
You don't want to come during the balloon fiesta, dude. It's a fucking madhouse.
Oh no, is it not? So you wouldn't recommend the balloon fiesta?
I mean, well, I live here, so it's like a little different. I mean, I live here, so I've only gone once, and I feel like that's all I need. So maybe you should go and only experience it once.
This week we're going to talk about, I guess it's not the soundtrack, it's like the inspired by album to the film Black Panther by Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick is in my opinion, he's the greatest artist to tackle Black Panther since Jack Kirby, and made this album. I was kind of thinking about it in terms of Drake. I didn't listen to that tape a lot, but More Life, the playlist. I mean, was that a similar thing where I think he curated it and like put everyone together and made the order and stuff? I feel like that's kind of like what Kendrick's role was here.
I want to say it was something of a curation, but I don't think to the extent that like his production team went in and produced a lot of the tracks. But that's a good comparison to draw.
Oh, I mean, Mike Will worked on a lot of the tracks. I think he was involved in like every aspect.
Oh, that might be the case. I didn't really look too much into that particular release.
Oh wait, not the Drake one. I'm talking about this one, the Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. He was like,
yeah, I think he's like the mastermind.
Yeah, you can hear that the producer Soundwave is credited on a lot of these tracks as well.
Yeah.
TDE staple Soundwave.
Yeah, it was a lot of his artists on here. SZA, there you go, SZA. So yeah, I saw the movie last night. You like the movie, right?
Oh yeah, I've actually seen it twice thus far. I enjoyed it.
Oh wow, you already said you want. I saw you tweeted that you wanted to see it, and again, I didn't know you had already seen it.
Yeah,
twice.
I think it's mainly because I've been like, well, I I've been listening to the Inspired by record, and I also listened to the original score, which is actually a pretty decent listen, honestly. I mean, it kind of contains elements of various percussion-driven electronic music that I like a lot. So I think that is pretty interesting, and I also played around with the idea of freestyling over some of the instrumentals with some friends. So we'll see how that goes.
Nice. Maybe we'll record some when we go to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this freaking album. Let's see, how should we tackle this? Yeah, I mean, no surprise that Kendrick Lamar is the one chosen to do this sort of thing. I mean, I think one of the biggest albums of the last few years was that Suicide Squad soundtrack, which had a bunch of like name rappers on it, but it was sort of tossed together. It's just like, let's put Skrillex on here, let's put Rick Ross on here, just weird shit, and not very well thought out. But I feel like for those kinds of things, they just put together names and see what happens. Fast and the Furious, same thing, had like a few like rap tracks with big artists, but they just sounded so weird and like I guess like I've a couple of times on this show I've like referred to soundtracks just as kind of like the dead end of like a rapper's aesthetic or something. Like they get big enough that they can be on this thing and put literally no effort. And it just but this one obviously was very intentional, and the Kendrick tracks aren't like throwaway Kendrick tracks. Like, they're really good. You know, he does the stuff where he shouts out Black Panther and TChalla, which actually I thought sounded really corny at first when he was like, I am T'Challa, I am Black Panther. But if you actually
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, but actually if you listen to it, you just see that it's kind of he's kind of splitting up the themes of the songs. So I feel like the first half is the Black Panther stuff, and then when you get around to Paramedic, the SOBRB song, you're getting into
like
Killmonger
centric.
Yeah, you're getting into more darker Killmonger territory.
Yeah, I thought the same thing until I read into the lyrics a bit more, and I kind of understood where everything was supposed to fit in this specific narrative. And I, like you, was a little bit surprised because I don't pay attention to soundtracks, because it seems like for a really long time, soundtracks have more or less just been like compilations of just whatever hit songs were available. So you don't get that. They're not like necessarily marketed to you as original pieces of music. Whereas like, you know, like maybe in the early 2000s, late 90s, you had specific songs made for specific movies. You know, like Nickelback songs for Spider-Man or something of the sort, you know, like your Celine Dion's and what have you. So it was super interesting. And I was also a little bit hesitant to listen as a result, but I think the more I listened, the more I became a little bit more okay with it, and the more accepting I was of the whole, you know, T'Challa Killmonger narrative.
Yeah, it's kind of I mean, once you listen to it, it's like, you know, basically just we have to hear rappers say their own name all the time. Kendrick doesn't do it a lot. He only does it when he's Kung Fu Kenny. But it's like something we're already used to. So, but yeah, like because Kendrick's like one of the most thoughtful rappers. Obviously, that's why people love him and why he would get this opportunity. Yeah, it's weird seeing everything. It's weird to listen to this in the context of it being for a movie, and especially because a lot of the songs weren't used for the movie. So what is the actual point of them? It's just a promotional. It's just a long audio commercial for the movie, basically. The studio using Kendrick Lamar to promote the product, which is not bad. I mean, it fits, right? Like,
and then you start to wonder, well, exactly what was his intent? You know, I mean, I think the story of Kendrick Lamar's involvement is that he was tapped to do some songs for the record, and then he saw the movie and decided to do more of, like, curate the soundtrack, if you will. And I guess and that kind of leads me to question, what the motive was by the, maybe the studios and the music companies and what have you. But
I mean, it's a very it's a Disney movie, but it's a very black movie, and I feel like Kendrick is like, he's like the go-to respectable black artist.
And I was surprised that Donald Glover didn't end up on this record at all, considering that like one of his longtime collaborators actually coordinated the score.
Oh,
like
really?
the guy who's produced a lot of his records, as well, I think, as the soundtracks for Creed and Fruitville Station. Yeah, he plays guitar in Donald Glover's band.
Yeah, I guess that would have made sense. Yeah, actually, Donald Glover is someone I could see getting this kind of role too. I don't think he would be as good at it, but
I think it definitely would have taken a different turn, like musically.
yeah, well, I don't think he's political enough for people to want him to do this. So it would probably be for a more like a less political film. Yeah, so to get into the music, what did you think of Future's verse on
Oh, dude, I loved it. Honestly,
Yeah.
like it's probably one of the most memorable things that Future has done
I also like
past like year and a half.
the song also sounds like Kendrick started it and then he realized he was rapping like Future and then he was like, I gotta get Future on this. Either that or like they wrote their verses together because it's very similar. But it sounds more like Future.
Yeah, it does, and I'm wondering if that's the case for some of the other songs as well, because it's the same way for Paramedic, the song with SOB
It's also the case that like Kendrick throughout is sort of like echoing people and just backing up. Like he's on a couple songs where he's not on any of the verses or the hooks. He's just like kind of singing behind everyone as like the orchestrator, which is kind of cool. So yeah, so I think for a lot of it, he's sort of inspired by it and kind of he's bringing the artist to you and presenting them to you basically.
But yeah, I think he's going to expose a lot of lesser known artists.
Who else is kind of new? I don't know. Mozzie. Not a lot of people know Mozzie. I didn't really know about Mozzie.
Yeah.
But he's really critically acclaimed and kind of like coming up. And you got Schoolboy Q and Absol. What's the worst thing on here? It's between like Absol and Travis Scott.
And The Weeknd.
Oh, I mean the Weeknd. He's kind of like he's so ubiquitous. It's just kind of like more sounds. It's sort of. I mean, I guess I'm tired of him, but he's kind of like just there. Whereas like
yeah,
Absol's verse really bothered me.
And that's and the thing about Absol is that like I've been a fan of a lot of his work prior, and I think I was a little disappointed by his showing here.
Absol's the person that like real 90s heads are always like, actually Absol's one of the even better than Kendrick. The line that made me the most mad was it's like point a shotgun at the passengers, the aftermath is you in the scope. Other stuff I should have written down like the worst lines,
and none of the worst lines were brought to the table by Future. None at all. I've seen a lot of people hating on his verse, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like it's some of the best stuff he's done in quite some time, also, or at least the most memorable. Also,
Kendrick is rapping just like him, so you can't you can't hate on this whole thing and hate on that. Yeah, Travis Scott's like auto-tune ad libs are just so bad.
I'm also sick of him.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your favorite song on the record?
I really liked X. I just like the hook on that. The Are We on 10 Yet?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the song that like I would be listening to for a while. And also King's Dead. I eventually liked it. Yeah, how about you?
So it's like a toss up between Paramedic and The Ways, the song with Khalid and Sway Lee.
Yeah, I love Sway Lee on that. I'm starting to really like his solo stuff.
Yeah, he's got a knack for hooks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I recently listened to I recently just heard the song he did, Perfect Pint, with Mike Will and and Gucci and Kendrick on that too. It's like an amazing, weird, distended singing style.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear what his solo record sounds like, but I'm not curious to like try to like take in the entire like Ray Shremmerd experience because it's supposed to be like a 3 LP type of deal.
Well, I guess it's actually yeah, but it's like 2 solos and one
yeah, exactly.
Ray Shremmerd. I mean, I guess that's still like spreading it out too thin, especially if Mike Will is doing most of it. That seems like not a good idea.
Yeah, it'll definitely get tiresome after a while.
I guess I haven't listened to like a lot of like Slim Jimmy like solo / features. He's less in demand, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't really see him all over the features now that you mention it.
Yeah. Mozzie's verse on here is really good too. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, I don't really see this fitting. It's actually kind of more, it's kind of like the lyrics are kind of like generic soundtrack lyrics, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But he's a really good rapper, so it turns out pretty well. One of the things that like was weird here is like the lines that are cool, like about, like we were saying, that this is basically a promotional piece for a movie. Lines that are like talking about cops and stuff, and I think Kendrick says like the blue shirts shooting to the brown bodies, something like that. It's weird because like sometimes you would want to hear that in rap songs normally, but now but in this context, it's just like, oh, this is just to promote a character. They're speaking like as a character in a Marvel movie. Like it's not like a struggle, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what was like most off-putting initially for me.
Yeah.
It's like there's overt references to the movie, and I was just like, first I was like, what? I was bothered by it. And I thought it was corny, but at the same time, it's like, well, it is.
Yeah, it is
supposed to be like something of an accompaniment piece. So it's like,
yeah,
I guess that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, like no one. We wouldn't want to hear just like a Kendrick album that is called Black Panther, but. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think he did the best possible job with it, without being like doing whole songs that are like fan fiction or like based on a scene, you know.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised we didn't get any like movie samples at all. Oh, yeah. Which I think would have pushed it way over the edge.
Yeah, like a Michael B. Jordan thing, like talking. Yeah, that would have been that. I feel like that would have been like a go-to, him talking about like, oh, where do you think your ancestors got these artifacts? They stole them, and then just drop the track.
Because in some of the way, and especially when you like think about some of the ways that he delivers those lines, you know, it's like almost like, yeah, this would sound perfect on one of these tracks for sure.
Yeah. Oh, we should talk about the movie. We should talk about the jujitsu in the movie. There was the first fighting ritual. T'Challa.
Oh, are you talking about that weak ass inverted triangle?
Yeah, it was like
T'Challa got him.
Yeah, it was like really like there was some continuity. There were some continuity errors because at first it looked really loose, and then when they got towards the end, like then it was like a real triangle. But also, like if it was a real triangle, the guy would have just passed out. And he wouldn't have to be like, give up or you'll die, because I mean it's a blood choke, so you either pass out or you die, or you
Yeah,
or
exactly.
it's not working. You either pass out or it's not working. It's not like, oh, I'm in so much pain.
I know the whole time I was like, look at all that space between between his neck and his arm and his shoulder. I was like, T'Challa needs to sit up, pull his hips back, maybe grab the arm, maybe go for maybe like some kind of shoulder lock or maybe a straight arm bar or transition to the arm bar.
I mean, but it did look like a real triangle at like one point, but I feel like they were playing around with the editing. Maybe the editor he is not the editor does not train, so he chose the shots by things other than how the triangle looked.
Yeah, I was watching it with friends, and they were who were like riveted in watching the movie, and I was like, I leaned over to my friend who trains, and I was like, look at that weak ass triangle, Jesus! Like, I was like, T'Challa should not be king right now. Like, he should have been reversed, and then the fight should have kept going.
Well, I guess they have great technology, but they haven't brought in any jujitsu masters.
Yeah, maybe they can exchange vibranium for some Gracie folks on site.
One thing that really bothered me was that they had that ritual fight, and then Killmonger challenges him, and Killmonger wins. He throws him off the waterfall, and then T'Challa's like, he's brought back to life, and then he says like, oh, the challenge is not over yet. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if you got...
Well, that's because he didn't submit and he didn't die. So technically the challenge was not over.
Yeah, so what's he supposed to do? Dive in there? Dive into the waterfall? Dive off the cliff and go kill him?
I suppose. I mean, well, but, like, it's not like they contested it at the time, Like, they still made him king.
Yeah, I know. He's king, so it should have been over. I think it was just a technicality that they were using for their coup, because it was a coup, because Killmonger was the king.
When, like, I saw, like, Killmonger take his shirt off, I was like, all right. And I put my popcorn down, and I was like, all right, I gotta stop. This dude's bodied up.
I thought he was, like, a little too bodied up. I was like, oh... I don't know. I guess I was seeing, before I saw the movie, I saw a lot of people saying he's, like, really hot. And I thought he was, like... He's a very handsome, cute guy, but I feel he had a little too much body on him, because I can't. I feel like
he was
like I don't know. I've seen too much like MMA to like I like know what people's bodies should look like and like what fighting machines look like, and I was like, I don't know.
He also like addresses that in an interview as well. Like, he mentions how like for Creed he like trained to have a fighter's body. And then if you've seen Creed, like, it kind of looks like how a fighter's body would look, like, not too muscly, but like super lean and not too muscles. Because if you've ever watched a UFC fight commentated by Joe Rogan, and especially with a fight that involves a muscled man, you would know
Tyrone Woodley, Yoel Romero
require more energy. Yeah, Tyrone Woodley for sure.
Muscles need fuel, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was he's a handsome man.
Yeah, the whole cast was looking like snacks. For sure.
What else about the movie? Yeah, I like that the like first half. I love the first half of the movie with like the chase and the casino scene, because it was like basically just a James Bond movie. I wish he had been wearing like a tuxedo to like make that more overt, that this was basically like Casino Royale or some shit.
You know what I liked about the movie as well in relation to like the score was how it went between like orchestral stuff, and then you would have like trap drums come like underneath them as well. And I don't know, like for some reason, like in my head that shouldn't work and it should be like mad corny, but in I guess the context of the movie, like it worked really well in my opinion.
Yeah, I didn't really notice the soundtrack that much while I was watching it, but I mean that kind of fits with like what the movie is supposed to be, I think. And also like the clash of like the traditional culture and this Oakland raised villain.
Yeah, and it seemed like it only happened when it involved Killmonger, so it definitely makes sense in that regard.
Yeah, I haven't listened to like the actual soundtrack besides being in the movie.
Yeah, I would give it a listen, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
It's got a lot of nice like instrumentation alongside a lot of cool percussions and various instruments. Like I do believe that in like putting together a lot of the productions for the Inspired By record, I think Kendrick had heard like the score and borrowed some stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of
and
samples.
you can hear it
apparently.
in some of the and you can hear some of the instrumentation, like the drums and some of the flute stuff.
Yeah, when I was in California, I went to Oakland. It's tight. I went to Nas's record store. I saw a mural of Mac Dre.
That's tight. Yeah, I saw the picture you posted.
Yeah. So yeah, this was good. I would look. I actually didn't. I probably liked this better than Damn. Like I've definitely listened to it more times than Damn.
I would say it's because it's most likely less lofty and like
it's more easy listening.
Out. Yeah, exactly. And like I really liked Damn, and like even the songs I really liked in certain aspects, like I would just end up skipping them. You know, like songs I knew I really liked, I would just be like, I don't really feel like it because like a lot of it's super heavy, and that's like and I don't really consider that an issue, but like it definitely becomes an issue when I'm not in the mood to listen to something so heavy. I think that's an issue with a lot of Kendrick's music post Mad City.
Yeah, because it came up. Damn came up in like autoplay, or actually, I was trying to find this like one line that annoyed me on Damn. Says like trying to listen to it, and just the contrast was really stark, with compared to Black Panther, because it's so. Yeah, it's way more heady and ambitious. Whereas this one, I think he definitely like try to make a vibe and try to make all the pieces fit together and have like a smooth narrative. Yeah.
You get pieces of it in certain songs, like even on the song with Future, like you get it towards the end. Like you kind of get like a lot of his music, especially in his like later full lengths, like they all kind of move around. They have like movements, and sometimes they're a little bit like off kilter, a little disjointed, and you get that at the end of what's it called, King's Dead, and you get it in a few tracks, like the opening track, Black Panther, and I think in any other like normally I like that, I'm a real fan of it, but like. I'm just not in the mood for it a lot of the time, and the fact that he kind of scales it back on this record, I think helps it. It benefits from like the less heady parts for sure.
I think that's a wrap on Black Panther, the album. I think.
Let me just say again that I just don't like the Weeknd on this album. Like the production, the song, like the production, like the beat itself is so cool, and I mean, I think Kendrick's, he's clearly like a really excellent rapper, but it's just like you mentioned, like The Weeknd is just there, but I think that's just like that's my issue. That's always been my issue with The Weeknd. It's like the same old Weeknd melody, and I'm sick of it. I don't really like a lot of his songs, and I've been told I should revisit the trilogy, but it's just like, I don't really care. Like,
yeah, I always think like every time I'm like tired of him, I'm like, well, I know like the mixtapes are supposed to be really good, so maybe if I go back, I'll like him. I'll have like more goodwill towards him. But now he's been like a superstar for like 5 years or however long it's been. So it's like I've got a lot of him in my life, whether I want it or not. So.
And on his last record, Starboy, he had a few tracks, and from what I understand, they weren't like typical Weeknd tracks, which I think made me enjoy them a little bit more. And unfortunately, this one kind of just, the song on this Black Panther record, it's just more or less just, typical Weeknd fodder.
And also let it be known that Travis Scott, you're bad. Go away. Stop being on everything that we talk about, too.
For real, yeah, for real. I'm surprised Metro Boomin isn't on this thing.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you next week. Stitch Gang out. Peace.